I just saw Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 6, Ignorance is Chris. We're going to have to talk about it. Hey everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel and a fan of Peacemaker and the DCU, hit that subscribe button because I talk about it and discuss it with you all the time on the channel. And let me know your thoughts in the comments down below of Episode 6, Ignorance is Chris. I got to know what you thought of this episode because I have a lot of thoughts and I'll be doing more videos leading up to Episode 7. But if you have not seen Episode 6 of Season 2 of Peacemaker, you got to hit that pause button because there are spoilers on top of spoilers on top of speculative spoilers that I don't want to ruin for you. So go pause it. It was really short. Go watch it, come back, and we'll have a good time talking about it then. Let's get right into it. We start off in the best dimension ever. And everybody has had a theory on this dimension. And pretty much everybody, I think, has been on the same page as to what they thought this dimension was going to be. But right off the hop, we get Peacemaker, the top trio at like an Applebee's or Chili's or something, and they're having a great moment, and then a family wants a photo of them, and they have a great little family moment there, a really good, touching moment. You're like, yay, these guys are the best. And then Harcourt decides to take the photo because Auggie Smith is terrible at selfies, so they take the photo, and in that moment, one of the coolest moments of the season, the creepiest moments of the season, is their faces begin to melt. And what does this mean? I have a few ideas I'll get to in other videos throughout the week, but what does that mean? It means that crap hit the fan. Then we go into the dance number, as always, and this week the dance number stuck out to me. Now, they have kind of highlighted certain people in the dance sequence as the series has gone on. Like every episode, I think Michael Rooker was big in one of them. So, you know, depending on your role, you're in it a little bit more. But one thing I noticed, aside from all that, one thing I noticed in this week's was Adebayo. Adebayo's shirt that she is wearing, the wardrobe she wears at the end of the dance sequence, is what she is wearing in this episode. I don't know if that means anything because I haven't seen episode 7 or 8 or anything, but where she ends up in this episode, I don't like that. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. After that joyous moment, we see the 11th Street kids decide that they are going to get Chris back. We saw that at the end of the last episode, but now we're going to do it. And they're choosing Adrian's house, Vigilante's house, because they don't know, Argus doesn't know his secret identity. So they decide to take the QUC thingy and they go to Vigilante's house. They go to his secret room in the basement and you have a great back and forth with his mom, which was hilarious in every way. And then she thinks he was dating Harcourt, but broke up because she dressed too slutty, which Harcourt, you know, was very Harcourt about it. They go in, you see a ton of drugs and money, just a ton of drugs and money, because when he has a raid, he takes the money because he doesn't trust the cops. He's not going to deliver to the cops because they might be corrupt, so he keeps it there for safekeeping. So they use it. Adebayo knows how to get the thing to work. So she gets the QUC to work. They open it up. Everything explodes, just covered with cocaine. And this, again, I said this with episode 1 with the orgy scene, where I was like, I wasn't really feeling the orgy scene. But then it ended up kind of, I mean, this one more impactful than that. But you know, James Gunn, he plants the seeds. He plants the seeds for you. Nothing happens by accident. Everything is on purpose. There's always a reason for everything. And the cocaine explodes on them for a reason, a very distinct reason, which you learn obviously later on. So they get into the portal, they meet the alien that does not wave to Peacemaker at all, and they find the helmets. They realize he wasn't dreaming any of this up. This is legit. They have his doorway. Vigilante Adrian, because he sees himself as Peacemaker's best friend, he knows the code to get in. Harcourt pushes in, and then they are in, and they see how beloved and how rich they are in this world, and they realize there's like no wonder that he didn't want to leave this world. No wonder Peacemaker Christmas wants to come over here after the crap hole he's in over there. This is amazing for him here. So they're in there, they enter into his room, and then his brother shows up, and his brother sees Harcourt, and which was good call there, sees Harcourt, and they have a little talk, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna go to Argus, you want me to take you? And she's like, I guess I have to go. There's a whole exchange about a snow globe, which comes back in the post-credit scene. It's pretty funny for that. But they go to Argus. That leaves Economos, Adrian, and Adebayo alone in the house. And Economos does not want to be there at all. He's going to throw up from the whole thing, understanding what's going on. Adebayo says, we got to stay here. Vigilante says, no, I got to meet myself. And if you've been watching me on this channel, you know, I was very excited to find out what he would be like in the other dimension. It wasn't what I expected exactly, but it was that somebody else on this channel in the comments suggested, and I'll bring that up in just a little bit. But Adebayo stays around with Economos, and they discover that Eagly has raided the fridge and made a complete mess, so they decide to stay there and clean up the mess. Vigilante goes off. He sees that his house is almost identical to the one in our dimension. He sees everything. There's little changes here and there, which he finds hysteric. He sees his mom and dad. His mom he has no respect for whatsoever. He finds it hilarious. He gets downstairs, he discovers that his key works on his secret room, gets in there, and he sees this dimension's Vigilante. All the while, in our dimension, Rick Flag Sr. is trying to track down Peacemaker. He learns from Flurry that not just Peacemaker's missing, not just Judo Master, but Harcourt and Economos. They're all off grid. They don't know where they are. And now Rick Flag Sr. is getting very frustrated. He says, the fate of the United States, the fate of the world depends on this. He needs to go to Belle Reve and he needs to meet an inmate. Who could that inmate be? I just watched Superman last night, so so as soon as I watched it, I was like, of course this is where we're going to go with this. We come back now to Harcourt and Keith Smith driving to Argus. And Harcourt is a lot more intuitive than Chris Smith is. And she notices right away, there is something off. There is something wildly off. All the people look the same here. There is something going down. And she can't, say anything because she's with Keith and he's talking about Halloween, and it's a moment and they get to Argus, but she can't get in Argus because of the cocaine from earlier, which again, the breadcrumbs lead, which pauses the whole situation. So now she's in a holding cell. She gets taken to a holding cell, which is going to put a whole new twist on what's to come. Cut back to Vigilante, and he meets his version of himself in this dimension. Shout out to John Segeda, hope I'm saying that correct, who predicted this in the comments. Shout out to you. Great call. You discover later on in the episode, but we'll get to it now. They talk about all the things they have, everything in common. Every single thing that they have is in common. They love each other. They even mentioned name drop Spider-Man, by the way. They did the Spider-Man meme, which I guess also exists in that dimension. And then you find out that the one thing they don't have in common is their relationship with Peacemaker, with Christopher Smith Peacemaker. New dimension, I guess I'll call it. Adrian hates Peacemaker, despises everything about him, which our dimension Vigilante is very confused about. And you find out that Vigilante joined the Sons of Liberty, is a part of the Sons of Liberty, because he doesn't believe in anything that Peacemaker stands for. And now we're starting to understand that, the Earth X stuff that everybody has been talking about for the last few weeks is coming to fruition. This is where we're headed. And it's another thing that I think James Gunn really nailed here, was that when the reveal happens, which we'll get to in a little bit, it absolutely clicks and works on every level. Peacemaker wakes up with that dimension's Amelia Harcourt. You find out that they're officially a couple. It was a little awkward. He decides he has to go to Argus to do some paperwork about the giant kaiju that they filed last week, or I guess the night before. So he goes to Argus, and that's when he discovers that Amelia Harcourt has been taken in for the cocaine honor. So he goes in, and they have a moment, and this must be the moment that made James Gunn cry. It got very emotional for Harcourt. She's yelling. Peacemaker's just like, do you love me? She goes, it's complicated. No, but I do, but I don't. And it's this whole thing. And she's like, I just want you to come back. You don't belong here. You belong with us. And he's like, no, I do belong here. My dad's here. My brother's here. This is where I belong. And it's a really good fight match, basically, of words and of character and of passion and drive. And these two characters who love each other unconditionally, I think at this point, are pulling each other in opposite directions. And neither one wants to commit fully to the other one. And it ends with Harcourt being let go, and Peacemaker follows her out. Adebayo and Economos are all done cleaning up Eagly's mess, and Adebayo says she wants to go for a walk. It is a beautiful day outside. I would also want to go for a walk. I love going for a walk. Economos is like, are you crazy? I'm staying in the house. She goes, we're safer out there than in here. Girl, you're wearing the same shirt as the dance sequence. So she goes outside for a walk, and people start looking at her weird as they drive past her. Economos stays in, and Auggie Smith comes home, sees immediately, because he knows he's a superhero. He knows that there is somebody in his house. He throws like a beer can or something at Economos. Economos goes right down on the ground, and Auggie Smith attacks him and stabs him through the hand. Through the hand. I was kind of like, that's gross. And Economos, like, that's hard. Like, this is a character we've been with for a season and a half now, just getting a knife stabbed through his hand. He's in, like, this, the stakes are now high for the characters, for the 11th Street Kids. I don't know what's going to happen, but Economos now is in real danger, and he releases all of the information he has. He says way too much. He acknowledges it too in a funny moment to kind of break the tension, but he tells Auggie Smith everything, and Auggie Smith is not happy. And you can tell, I think he kind of knew something was up the whole time, but now he knows for sure. He has the information. Now, what happens with Economos, we have no idea why this is happening. Rick Flag Sr. decides to have his conversation with Lex Luthor at Belle Reve, Nicholas Hoult coming back now with a cane. And I think that this guy, you know, he was great in About a Boy, but I think this role, like, he is really, really sinister as Lex Luthor. And I thought this scene, I thought he was chewing the scenery and he was having a great time. And his back and forth with Rick Flag Sr. I want to watch a show with those two. I thought they were fantastic. It was like two heavyweight boxers just going at it. I absolutely loved it. In this meeting between Lex and Flag, we learn that there are a few reasons why Flag wants this interdimensional portal. One, so there's not another rift that goes through the city, but another one that he says will be beneficial for everybody. And now comes the prequel to Man of Tomorrow when he gives Lex Luthor a chance at redemption. He says, this could be your redemption. And Lex Luthor offers a scanner that will find where that portal is. So they're going to know where that it's at Vigilante's house, and they're going to be entering there. Now, a lot can go on here. A lot is going to happen, and there's going to be wild things that are going to go on. And I did a G.I. Robot video a little while ago, a theory on him appearing, and then now I'm starting to think that could be a very real possibility at this point. But going back to Vigilante, there's Vigilante and Vigilante talking. Now, if you know Earth X and you know the comics of Earth X, and if you don't, I'm just going to say a few things here. Earth X in the comics used characters from quality comics. Peacemaker came to DC through Charlton Comics. My thought on this is Vigilante now is a part of the Sons of Liberty, which seem to be the DCU's version of the Freedom Fighters from the comics. So Vigilante's in there. Now, Vigilante's a DC character, but Peacemaker being the Charlton character, what if other Charlton characters are part of the Sons of Liberty in this universe? I'm thinking we could see the likes of Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, The Question, oh man, Nightshade, Sarge Steel, and Son of Vulcan. The reason I'm putting that together is Charlton Comics, these characters were acquired by DC in 1983, the exact same year that DC first published Vigilante. That's just something crazy that I thought of when was happening. I was like, I think they're going to substitute one for the other. If that happens, that would be phenomenal and awesome. And look, I don't know where we're going with this, because now this episode then from here goes balls to the wall, like just balls to the wall nonstop. I mean, it was already nonstop, but now we're getting there. Adebayo is being chased down the street like a zombie apocalypse. Economos is being held by Auggie Smith. Rick Flag Sr. and Argus are working with Lex Luthor. Vigilante now hates his other dimensional self because he's friends with Peacemaker. Peacemaker is escorting Harcourt out of Argus. Peacemaker and Harcourt walk out, and that's when she says, have you noticed that there's no people of color here? And he looks down at the American flag, and in the space where stars should be shining bright, you've got the swastika. In that dimensions, Harcourt comes in and claims, arrest her. And the end shot is Adebayo running away from the zombie apocalypse. A few weeks ago, somebody mentioned, I can't remember who it was, that interviewed James Gunn and said that Rick Flag Sr. is kind of a through line because he appears in everything. And James Gunn was quick to say, well, we see Economos as well. I didn't think much of that. Obviously, I thought of it, but I didn't think much of that answer until this episode and the position that Economos is in with Auggie Smith. Auggie Smith is not a nice dude. He was never a nice dude in the right dimension. He's not a nice dude in this dimension. So what does that mean? Where can that go? Could Economos be a character who doesn't live by the end of this? It seems like Adebayo is going to, like she's going to go into a camp, but maybe she'll get tortured. Maybe she will get killed. But Economos for me right now is the one that's in the most amount of danger, aside from, I think, Peacemaker, because, you know, Auggie Smith knows what's going on. So there's a lot. I mean, they're all in danger, but Economos, right now, he's the one. Now, would James Gunn kill off his friend like that in real life? Like, would he just be like, you're no longer in this DCU that we just started and we have this whole 10-year plan? I don't know, but I don't even think that would matter to James Gunn. I think, you know, he's always said story comes first, right? Story is his mistress, is what he said on the Two Bears, One Cave podcast. And if that's the case, if Economos has to die, if Adebayo has to die, if any character has to go to progress the story, then that's what's going to happen. That's just the case. That's how it's going to be. And so I wouldn't put anything by James Gunn and what to do in that. And I'm sure there's a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of little things that I missed in this episode. I just watched it. My wife and I were like, this is wild. We had a really good time with it. I thought it was a fantastic. I just, this show, I don't know if this show is as strong as season one. I don't think the story, well, now the story's getting there, but I don't think the story is as strong. But I love the characters, and I love that we're getting to know the characters, which I think a TV show should really do. And I really like where we're going with them. And because of the first half of the season, which was about them being together, and the 11th Street Kids, nothing will break them apart. And now everything is breaking them apart, right? Nazism is breaking them apart. I don't know, I just think James Gunn is nailing it. I still believe that the Peacemaker world is where James Gunn thrives. Like I said, I just watched Superman last night, and I still think it's a really fun, great movie. But Peacemaker is he's just so great at it. And we'll see what's going to happen in the next few episodes. I'm really curious if we're going to get a Superman in Earth X or whatever they're going to call this dimension there. But I love the way they're doing it. I love that we're there. I think a trailer just dropped while I was recording as a little notification, so I'm going to do that. I'll have my preview show. I'll have other videos about the next episode coming up as well. But those are my thoughts on it. I really liked it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Out of 10, what would you give this episode? Do you think anyone is going to die? I don't know if they will. But again, if story is the most important thing and you need somebody to go to get Peacemaker to become the character you need him to become going forward, then that's going to be the case. But I don't know if it's going to happen, but I really had a lot of fun. I can't wait to see where we're going into next episode. And then, of course, the finale after that. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate your time. Hit the like button and subscribe button if you'd like. And until next time, may be the master of your own universe.